In the Gospel, Jesus illustrates how God comes to us, without demanding perfection. The Canaanite woman was not Jewish. She was a pagan, and she lived in a very wealthy part of the ancient world. She calls Jesus Lord, Son of David. Obviously, she has some knowledge of Judaism to use the title Son of David, and must have some faith to speak like that. But if she has faith, why hasn't she converted to become a Jew? Maybe she's sitting on the fence, afraid to alienate her wealthy neighbors or business partners, and yet she comes to Jesus for help. I can imagine the disciples thinking, "Look, woman, if you want to join us, then join us, but don't come around just for a handout." So they asked Jesus to send her away. And Jesus says something very surprising. It's not right to take the food of the children and throw it to the dogs. Can you imagine being called a dog by Jesus? I'd find that a little tough. But then I ask myself, do I ever act like that? In the ancient world, calling someone a dog was to make them less than human, which is to say, to cast them outside of the family circle. I share a meal with people who are family or like family. If a stranger comes and I share a meal with him, I'm raising him to the level of family, which is a sacred pledge. Those not worthy of sharing that meal are outsiders, and the ancient world called them dogs. This woman wanted the perks of being a disciple without committing to being a disciple. She refused the invitation to hospitality, to the inner circle. That's why Jesus called her a dog, because she remained on the fence about her discipleship. And the woman understands this critique. It's as though she says, "You're right. I've been too fearful or lazy or whatever to commit my life. But please, my daughter, and even the dogs eat the scraps that fall from the table. Please." And Jesus acknowledges her faith and heals her daughter. Are you and I humble enough to accept the reality that sometimes we act like dogs, like we're not members of God's family? But the beauty is that God's call to us, His presence to us, His desire for us is irrevocable. Jesus goes even further. He heals the woman's daughter because of her great faith, even though it's not yet complete, because she has not yet become a disciple. It's quite an example of Jesus acting outside the normal boundaries of things. He will reach out His mercy and healing, even beyond the church, if He finds faith there. Even if the faith is incomplete, because the person hasn't yet come into the church. Jesus looks to us only for a spark of faith and His desire to reach out and heal us. Let's be humble enough to admit that we fall short, sit the fence, sin, and let's come with that humility and trust to Jesus, who alone can give us ultimate healing, ultimate satisfaction, ultimate peace.